Look, there are many decisions when it comes to cruising, and one of the first ones you have to make is which dining time will you choose. You may not know this if you're new to cruising, but in order to serve everybody dinner, they split up the dining into a few dining times. We're going to cover those dining times in this video and give you some tips on how to pick the one that works best for you. Hey, what's up everybody? Tony with Lido, Loca. Welcome to the YouTube channel. If you're new here and you love cruising, consider subscribing with the notification bell on for all of the latest content. This is actually day 22 of our 31-day cruise tip series. This is a series that's interactive. I give a tip and you give a tip in the comments, and we're going to give a prize away at the end of the 31 days. So make sure you leave your comments so that you have the opportunity to win this prize pack that we're putting together on our next cruise on the Carnival Breeze. Now let's talk dining time. Most cruise ships have 3 dining times. They have an early dining time, they have a late dining time, and they have an anytime dining time. And these are the times that you will be assigned to go to the main dining room. There are a lot of dining choices on cruise ships, but the main dining room is the one that most closely has a restaurant feel and is included in your cruise fare. You have other options like buffet and specialty dining, but we're going to focus mainly on the main dining room. So here's the first tip for you. If you want a certain dining time and you want to be assured that you get it, do your online check-in as soon as possible. Now this is going to be different on a cruise line by cruise line basis, but in general, most of the cruise lines have a process sometime a few months before your cruise happens where you can go and do an online check-in where you provide your documentation and you make a few choices like whether you want your beds pushed together and what time you want to have dining. So what are some of the considerations for picking your dining time? Most of the time, early dining starts anywhere between 5 and 5:30, with the late dining time starting between 6:30 and 7. So if you think about that time window, that means that the people that are dining early have about an hour or an hour and a half to complete their meal so the restaurant can be flipped for the second dining. Now if you go to the later dining, that time that you have to eat is less important because there's nobody following you. And of course if you go to anytime dining, that's usually going to be open for the entire time. So if you do choose early time dining, the first thing that you have to realize is that they'll rush you out of there if time is drawing short. And so that means if there's anything that goes wrong with their food service, if it's slow at all, you might feel really rushed during that process. Now, I don't have the statistical data for it, but I do feel like early dining is preferred by many people, primarily because of what goes on the cruise ship in the evening. Many of the theater shows don't start until 7. They usually have 2 shows each night, a 7 o'clock show, a 9 o'clock show. That varies. So if you get your dining out of the way, you have a better option for planning your shows. You can do more that way. So I think a lot of people choose early dining if they're show focused, if there's things on a schedule that they want to do later in the evening. And but if you don't really have that concern and you just want a nice leisurely meal, the late dining is a good option. But let's look at it the other way. Say that you're not as concerned about the evening stage shows. Say you're somebody that really enjoys getting the most time out of going to port when the ship actually stops at a port. Sometimes that early dining will conflict with the all on board time to get back on the cruise ship. And so if you're somebody that's an early diner that wants to make sure that you make your dinner every night, you might end up cutting your port stop short. So if you're somebody that really tries to get the most out of that port stop every time you go, you might choose the later dining so you don't have to worry about a conflict with your dinner. Now again, there's a lot of food options on the cruise ship, and so you may resolve yourself to say, I'll miss some main dining time. But if main dining is important to you and ports are important to you, then you could choose the later dining to make sure you get the most out of the ports and that you also get to have the dining experience that you want. Now, if you're somebody who likes the stage shows, if you're somebody who likes to spend all day in port, they do have the anytime dining, which is the most flexible of the options. You can show up at any time. You're most likely to have a wait at anytime dining depending what time that you go, because it really is a situation where you just show up and you try to get a table. A quick tip for anytime dining: if you want to lessen the wait, be open to sitting with other people. They have large tables in these dining rooms, and if you're okay with sitting with strangers, you're more likely to get seated quickly. But if you want to wait it out and just have a table for 2 for you and your honey, you can also put the time in and wait for that. So anytime dining is a great option if you want the absolute most flexibility. All these dining times, they'll have the same menu every day, they'll have the same food, and so you're not really going to affect your food choices that much by choosing any one of the three. So you may be wondering what Jenny and I do when we go on a cruise. If we go on a cruise and it's just her and I, we will usually go with anytime dining. We like the flexibility of being able to kind of flow with the day and do whatever we want to do. We are nighttime people on the cruise ship. We like to hit the casino. We like to go to the stage shows. And so anytime dining really gives us the flexibility. If we're cruising with other people, we really like to use the dining time as a point to make sure that we meet up and check in on each other and see how the day is. And so we'll do early dining in those situations. That way we can go have a meal and then the night is kind of still open, but it becomes a meeting point where we can go and check in on everybody. I don't think we've ever chosen late dining. We learned the hard way that if you don't do your online check-in, that you will get assigned something that you may not want. So I think we've been assigned late dining before. The other cool thing is the ship is usually pretty accommodating. On embarkation day, you can go to the maitre d' and ask them if there's space in the dining time that you want. And most of the time, if you don't like that late dining, you can get moved into anytime dining so that you have that flexibility. The question for the comments is this: what dining time do you like? How do you make that decision? What are some of the factors that push you one way or the other? Thanks for stopping by. This is Tony with Lido, Loca. Make sure you check out our social media. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.